Hi, everyone. My name is Alex Ryder. I'm the Senior Manager of Volunteers here with Special Olympics Washington. Today, we wanted to give you an overview for you cycling volunteers, a little bit more about what to expect, and just the overall details about Special Olympics cycling. So let's jump into some volunteer fundamentals. The big thing to note are our roles. So a big one is setup. The course involves a lot of setup all throughout, the course, whether it's setting up flags and benchmarks, just everything along the line, tables and chairs at the start and finish line, everything in between. So a lot of hands are needed for that part. Many of you guys will be placed at the start and finish line, tracking the athletes as they go by. We do have electronic timing system, but we're going to have some people writing down the scores, tracking the starters, all of those sorts of details. And then, of course, some volunteers stationed at checkpoints along the route. You guys are just going to be making sure nobody needs help, everyone's on the right path, those sorts of things. Of course, some awards helpers, making sure we get our awards on time, and a repair crew. So for those of you who know about bikes, feel comfortable changing tires, all sorts of things like that, we have a big need for some repair crews. So that's a huge role and definitely a more technical one. And then, of course, fans in the stands. It's great. You're kind of duplicating this role as a checkpointer, but it's great to have fans along the route cheering on the athletes, just creating a great environment as they go through the course. So the basics, the sports season runs March through June. There is no regional event right now. So what we do have is our state spring games. The cycling event itself will be held at Joint Base Lewis McCord. So a little bit about that. You are going to need to get a base pass to actually get on Joint Base Lewis McCord. And more details will be sent out about this, but we just want to give you a general timeline of how this is going to work. So if you've registered with us prior to the middle of May, for 2019, this date was May 17th, just for an example. So it'll be roughly around that time. We will actually mail your passes out to you. So it's a physical copy. Since it's a raised seal on it, we're not able to print them out, send them that way. So we have to send them to you in the mail. Essentially, when you register for a cycling opportunity, you will have to indicate your date of birth. This is just for Joint Base Lewis McCord to check that, and then we will send it out to you. If you registered prior to the deadline and did not happen to receive your pass by Friday of the state games, just stop by the visitor center. It's right off of exit 120, and we'll have a tent set up for you guys where you can swing by our volunteer table, pick that up, and get on your way. For those of you who have registered after the May deadline, you're going to have to visit the visitor center to actually receive a day pass. This one, just plan a little more time on that. So if you registered past that date, plan a little more time. The visitor center does get a little bit backed up in processing those day passes, so just plan yourself a little extra time. There is only one volunteer pass that's needed per car. The rest will just need to show their ID. So as long as one person is cleared, so it could be a family member, maybe four of you are volunteering, just one person needs to have that pass. Just show you guys the site map here. So the visitor center, like I mentioned, this is off of exit 120. For those of you going powerlifting, you're going to go this way. But the most of you go into cycling. And again, we'll go through all these details as we lead up to the games. You guys are going to be heading this direction towards that base. Events offered, again, this is going to be different each year based on our needs. But just so you guys have an overview of the different types of events that we have. So we have individual unified races and some different bike trials. Our cycling rules. So each athlete, they can enter 2 individual events plus a unified event. Therefore, an athlete can compete in 3 events. To register for the 5K events, an athlete must be able to complete the race in 18 minutes or less. So it just gives you an idea of how long the races might take. 10K events in 26 minutes or less. All riders must be in the staging area near the start line at least 15 minutes prior to the event. So this is a big one for you volunteers at the start and finish line of just tracking who is at the starting line and making sure we have the right people ready to go. The starter is going to count down to the starting time using both an audible and visual countdown for each rider. For those hearing impaired riders, a visual cue, and these could be something like a flag or an arm drop. Arm drop will indicate the start of the race. The rider must start from a stationary position. So this again is important for you guys who are at the start and finish line to watch this. The rider shall be held and then released without push by a holder. At the discretion of the chief referee and organizing team, the time trial order may be conducted fastest rider to slowest rider or slowest rider to fastest rider. Again, we'll make sure you guys know all of this stuff. For those of you at checkpoints, something to keep a note on and let us know about is drafting and taking pace, which is side-by-side racing, is not allowed in time trials unless it is a team event. Partners can draft off of each other, but not other teams. And just again, for you checkpointers, separation between two bikes should generally be at least 3 bike lengths. Cyclists, so this is if you experience mechanical problems. So this is where our repair crew comes in. They may change any part of the bicycle or the entire bicycle if necessary to finish the race. Again, assistance is allowed. A competitor remounting the bike after a crash or mechanical problem or a flat tire, they can push it 10 meters. Again, just things to note. In the case of a crash, flat tire, mechanical problem, the competitor may run with the bicycle to the finish line, staying on the course. Cyclists must keep at least one hand on the handlebars at all times. No cyclist may use or carry radios for communication with other riders. Use of headphones of any style is prohibited. Time trial, so for wondering what exactly that is, it's just an individual racing against the clock. Competitors should depart here in 20-second intervals. Use of modified bikes will only be permitted in time trial events. And then the big race, so this is our road race. This one consists of a mass start. Competitors in road races will begin in mass starts according to division. So again, this is just kind of something to overview. I know these are more in-depth details, and you're not going to have to know the full rule book in and out, but just so you have a general idea of what to expect. Again, the biggest thing to note is that all competitors will have their entry numbers according to instructions by chief officials. And the other thing for you checkpointers to keep a note of is that head coaches and other delegation members are not allowed on the track. So if you're out on a checkpoint, you might be with a coach with you. They are not allowed to go out on the track. Course layout. So the road course, the course layout should be approximately 2 to 5 kilometers in length, with 2.5 optimal for shorter distances and 5 kilometers or more for races over 15 meters in length. The distance for events may be approximate. The course can be the same for all races, which is what we do at our state spring games. The course, again, should always be a loop. The biggest thing to note is the road should be in good condition, free of potholes. So this is important for you guys who are checkpointers to know. Once you're going out to your spot, take a look at the course. If you happen to see anything out there, pick it up, and just make sure we're keeping an eye on any debris. You know, maybe if you find a pothole out there, let us know, and we'll just go ahead and make sure that that gets taken care of. So a staging area is provided for athletes, allowing them to congregate, warm up, stage, and cool down. This is where a lot of our start and finish line volunteers are going to spend a lot of time just making sure the athletes are in the right order, ready to go. Our repair areas are available on site. So again, this is where that repair crew comes in. The finish line is going to remain exactly the same for all races. The finish line area is at least 8 meters wide. And then after that, there's a safe exit that's planned to accommodate riders completing the race. This is something that you start and finish line will help with. So once they finish the race, just help and make sure they get off the course in the proper fashion, making sure there's no backups or delays in that sense. The time trial course can be as short as 500 meters. The ideal course length is 2 kilometers, and the road must be wide enough to allow riders to pass each other. The time trial, as with all our other events, are closed off to public traffic. And again, making sure that the condition is good, free of potholes, and not made of gravel. Again, if you see anything like that, just go ahead and sweep it off the road. So our unified cycling rules, unified team events include a 3K and 5K time trials and the 5K and 10K road race. What this does is include two-person unified sports teams, which are one athlete and one unified partner. When there's two bikes that are used, they must be two-wheel bikes. The road race events will be a mass start, and the time trial will be 20-second intervals with the two-person unified sports team starting side by side. The team's place will be determined when the last competitor's front wheel, doesn't matter if this is the partner or the athlete, crosses the finish line. The finish times for the members of the team shall not exceed a 3-second difference from the fastest to slowest rider. In our tandem events, we do have unified tandem. That's our 3K and 5K time trial. The athlete or the partner, they can be the driver or the rear position, doesn't matter which. In accordance with the paracycling rules, blind and visually impaired cyclists compete on the rear of the tandem. The unified partner must complete the application for participation form before completing. Our volunteer code of conduct. So as a Special Olympics volunteer, I agree that while serving as a volunteer, I will provide for the general welfare, health, and safety, dress and act in an appropriate manner at all times, follow the established rules and guidelines, report any emergencies to the proper authorities, abstain from the consumption or use of all alcohol, tobacco products, and not engage in any inappropriate contact or relationship with athletes, volunteers, or participants. We just want to thank you guys so much for volunteering. Of course, we're always still looking for more volunteers for our state spring games. So be sure to have your friends and family register today. Afterwards, for confirmation of volunteer hours, you can either email me at arider@sowa.org, and we'll also have forms on site. And if you just happen to have any questions in general, feel free to email me at arider@sowa.org. The biggest thing is that you actually will receive more training on site. This is a very high-level overview of what exactly cycling at Special Olympics entails. So on site, you're actually going to receive a more in-depth training about what to expect, where to go, all those key details. Again, we just want to thank you so much. Can't wait to see you out at our games, and thanks again.